I'm Matt Lewis with MLF Legal, and I'm hanging out in Fort Worth today with Dr. Michael Lopez here at Elite Healthcare. Elite Healthcare is one of the greatest places in Fort Worth for an injured worker to get treatment. The reason I came out today is to talk to Dr. Lopez about sprains and strains. The Division of Workers' Comp used to say that people had sprain-strain injuries, so you would kind of lump both of those conditions together for your treatment plan. But lately they've tried to split those in half and say you either have a sprain or a strain, or they ask you to prove that you have both individually instead of lumping it all together. So if we're going to have to split hairs on what your injuries are when we get to a hearing, then we need to understand the difference between the two. So Dr. Lopez, what's the difference between a sprain and a strain?
Well, the sprain, that's a stretching or tearing of a muscle or tendon, whereas a strain is a stretching or tearing of ligament.
Okay, and so do you treat both of those injuries the same?
Yeah, at the beginning, yes. You're usually going to have some swelling at the beginning, so ice is always good. If it's a joint, you can do compression. We always start off with a sprain strain injury, recommending active physical therapy for about 4 weeks.
And so if somebody came in with ankle complaints and you had to figure out, what's going on, how do you determine the difference between the diagnosis of a sprain or a strain?
Well, with a strain, like I said, it's a stretching or tearing of a muscle. So if the patient has pain with active range of motion, meaning they're moving the joint, then that's a good indicator that it is the muscle that's causing the issue. Whereas with a sprain, if I'm passively moving the joint and they're having pain, or they're not using the muscle, that's a good indicator it's the ligament.
And either way, you said the treatment is relatively the same.
Correct.
And so how long should the symptoms of a sprain or a strain last?
They should typically resolve in 4 to 6 weeks.
And if they don't resolve that quickly, is that an indication of anything else?
At that point, we typically start ordering MRIs, start looking further into the see if there's anything else going on.
So with sprain and strain injuries, it's important to get the right diagnosis because you need to know whether your claim is going to be covered for the ligament or for the muscle. And if they get the wrong one, you still get the right treatment either way. But that becomes a problem when you get down the road and you might need the diagnostic testing. Are diagnostic tests different for muscle injuries versus the ligament injuries?
An MRI should be able to pick up both.
And what would the MRI, what would you expect it to show if it's something more than a sprain or a strain? What kind of things would come up with an MRI?
Like if it were an ankle, you may see a tear in the tendons. There's also inflammation, edema that could show up. If it was like a region like the low back, you can see a disc injury. You also see swelling, edema, things like that.
So the length of the symptoms and the severity of those symptoms would probably give you a better indication of whether it's only a sprain or a strain or whether this might be something more serious.
Correct.
Well, if you've got a sprain or a strain and you think it might be something more and you need to get things checked out, come visit Dr. Lopez at Elite Healthcare in Fort Worth.